Some of us are outwardly successful, but inwardly feel unhappy and living a life lacking in purpose and meaning. The Necktie and the Jaguar by Carl Greer can help you discover what's important to you and how to go for it. For more information or to purchase the book, visit carlgreer.com. That's CarlGreer.com. Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way, and that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best, speak from their hearts.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. This is
Marilyn
and Elizabeth. And, well, you know what? We are going to talk about something that has always arrived just in time. And usually it makes me feel a little stressed out because one minute we're like in fall weather and Halloween, and then the next it's like the holiday season. And it is upon us. So we are all going to be celebrating in about roughly a week from now, Thanksgiving. And it's the time of year of the hustle and the bustle of the holidays. Many people will have mixed emotions around the many family gatherings. And we're going to talk about learning to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves and trying to stay grounded and have the best holiday experience possible. And we know that everybody has different holidays out there. There's Christmas, there's Kwanzaa, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Different religions, different faiths. And we're not here to talk about any of the religions, faiths, or celebrations. We're just talking about the season in general because we want everybody to be included. One thing I know that I got going for me, Marilyn, is I get stressed around the holidays. And I think a lot of it, there's a lot going on for a lot of different people. And we're going to kind of tackle this because I know for me, I'm going to start this show off on a nice note, and then I'm going to go into some more icky things that I feel like some people feel that I know I feel. But this year, I'm running away from home, and I'm so damn excited. I'm going to Nashville. I'm going to Hollywood. I'm visiting extended family. I'm visiting my sister, and I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. And this has been a trip years in the making because of COVID. And I don't care, come hell or high water, I'm going to Dollywood, and I'm going to have a good time. So, not a traditional Christmas, but my family's never had those anyway. So what are you doing for Christmas, Marilyn? You want to share your Christmas or holiday experience?
Usually for the holidays, what takes place is that everyone comes over to my home, but it's usually not for Christmas. It's for New Year's. We usually have a New Year family gathering, and we usually have, 35 to 40 people, family, friends. I mean, it's amazing. We really enjoy each other. We have such a great time. But in saying that, what I also have to say is that the holidays could be very tricky, right, with feelings. And, when you're coming together with people and family members, and maybe you do have things that get triggered, during those periods when you're coming together. I have learned over time, right, that for many years, I used to have family gathering at my home. and I lived in an apartment, and it was a nice size apartment, but still there was a lot of family there, and we would have great times until we didn't, right? Until that moment when I was like, okay, this is a little bit too stressful. And at that time, I didn't really speak about energies. I just spoke about it just doesn't feel good. And I just want to feel good, right? So, sometimes you think about alcohol, around the holidays, and sometimes, some people can handle it and some people can, and some people become obnoxious, and some people, they're just not, they're happy with the alcohol and they're fun, and then others are like, oh my God, a disaster. And and so I learned to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore, because I want to celebrate good times. I don't want to try to be the police in the in the party time. I want to have a good time too. So my thought is around this is that you decide what it is that you want. And what I did was I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not do any more of these parties and gatherings and stuff like that until I'm ready to have, select the people that I want to have in and around me, to make my time fun and joyful. And, of course, there will be those times when you may not be able to, when you're going to families' homes, or when you're going to, when you have to go to, let's say, an affair, a party that you're invited to, that oh my goodness, so-and-so is going to be there, and boy, whenever I'm around this person, I feel a certain way, and then I get triggered, and all of a sudden I am reactive. And so it's working on those kinds of things, right, that I think that we're going to really be talking about today, right? We're going to talk about how we can change that energy around those people and around us, so that we can have fun, even amongst the crazy. We can still have fun and we can still feel joyful, right? And remembering that it really has nothing to do with us, and it's the person that's having their experience, and that we don't need to take in that experience. We just simply need to navigate the waters, like, move ourselves outside of that energy if it doesn't feel good, right? There's always little clusters of people, and so just go into the clusters of people that make you feel good, and when you're laughing and you're joking and you're having a good time, and try to not be so close to those who are going to create those trigger bombs, right?
Well, and sometimes you can't avoid the trigger bombs because they're sitting at the same table with you. I mean, for me, I have to say, there's a lot of people that are still in grief. Like, my mother passed away, almost 14 years ago now, which I can't even believe that. But her favorite holiday was Thanksgiving. And we had a big loft in New York City, an old factory building. So we had a floor, and we had a huge, expansive table. And my mother would have a potluck, and everybody would come, and it was quite beautiful, because the more the merrier, and the more people that showed up, the less they poked my triggers, right? It made it much more social.
Yes.
But, there's a lot of things I want to say today, because one, there's a lot of people out there like me dealing with the person who was the glue of the family is gone. And so a lot of people are triggered by grief and the lack of somebody that was there that isn't there. And of course, their presence is so there, even though they're not there in the physical. And then also, I know for myself, there's been plenty of the Thanksgivings or Christmases where I've traveled and been transplanted back 30 years, looking around the table where everybody's talking to me like I'm like 13, and all of the things that I used to be, because that's all they know of me, right? And so there's the expectation of like wanting to get up in your chair and go, I'm not 13, I'm not, and but really, it's an emotional trigger. And I think what you said at the beginning of this is so helpful, because the number one thing at the end of my notes, because I actually did take a few notes today and just jotted down a little bit, is number one thing I think everybody should do is make a choice that you're going to take care of you. And that's what you did by saying, you know what, I'm not going to do all these events. Not only is there enough pressure with the holidays, now you're the host, and you got to cook, and you got to make people happy, and you got to make sure the turkey isn't burning while you're giving somebody their second glass of wine and they're already slurring their words, yada, 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 yada. I can feel the stress building in me. Now, I don't anymore because I don't have those dynamics, but you took care of yourself, and you said, look, what can I do? Because this is the number one thing I know. If you are not filling yourself up and taking care of you, you ain't good to nobody else anyway. And that's when you're going to snap, when you feel overextended, triggered, tired, whatever it is. So we got a little bit of time to gear up, fill up our tanks, what are negotiables, what aren't, and move from that space. And I think it's about being centered and grounded and knowing that you're going to be okay no matter what, that you're your best advocate and you got this, right?
Yeah, and setting your intention, right? We should always set our intentions to, as to what it is that we are going to be receiving and walking into. And let me rephrase that, because sometimes what happens is that people start to think about, oh my God, you remember the last time this happened, that happened. It's all negative, right? It's all negative thinking.
And so what were never addressed there that people are still hanging on to.
Right. And so what I'm saying is the opposite. I don't want you to focus on the negative of the old experiences, but what I want you to do is to bring in the positives of what you would love to see, what you would love to experience, what you would love to be feeling around these people. Because believe it or not, and I know that it sounds woo-hoo, woo-woo, or whatever it is you call it, but in reality, the more of that energy that you put out into that space, the more it becomes that space. And yes, granted, there will be those who will, maybe not fall into that. But for the most part, you'll have more of the good, juicy energy of love and compassion and laughter and fun and joy, because you've already co-created that experience into the, into your future, into that present moment where you're going to be stepping into. So it's important to be able to set the intention that you're going to have fun, that you're going to be around loving, caring, compassionate people, that, when you come across, whoever it is that you have difficulties with, that person is going to be in a different frequency, that he's going to be vibrating in love and with compassion. And you know what? Maybe he won't or she won't be that, tuned into that, but maybe there'll be a little bit less of a roughness to this person, right? Because you're putting out that vibration, right? The other thing is that I really feel that, when we start to think so much, that energy of thinking and producing and creating what it is that we are expecting, we are exactly going to find that. So my thought is, so if you know that you're going to find what you're putting out, then put the good stuff out. So at least you have a fighting chance in getting what it is you're wanting, right? Right?
Right. Yeah. And I would also say the more prep work you can do with, this is my energy, this is who I am. These people may see me as 30 years ago, Beth, but they don't know any part of my journey. And I may not know a lot about theirs too. So we show up with preconceived ideas and conceptions about the dynamics you've had with a sibling or a cousin or a parent.
Yeah.
And so it's important to realize these people are doing the best they can even when it doesn't feel like it.
And their intention is not to tell you, to let's say belittle you or make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe their intention is because they want to go back to that time, right, when things were so different. And maybe they were feeling good.
Yeah, or maybe they just want to poke you a little and see if they can get a reaction. I know there's people out there that know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
What is the best revenge? No reaction.
No reaction.
No reaction. And what I was going to say is, you know what? If you can hang on to that your life is bigger than any one particular moment, a crisis does not define you. A crisis or a trigger is a stepping stone to helping you rise into your higher self and into your own empowerment. So if you can step back in that 1 second and just say, I ain't gonna bite the bait.
That's right.
And, you know, your little invisible halo. And again, remember, we talked a lot about this, Marilyn, being your own detective. What makes me tick? It's like, what makes me tick? Okay, this could happen, that could happen, this could happen. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to anticipate that those things are going to happen. So now walking in that door, if they don't happen, I'll be pleasantly surprised. And if they do happen, I have my no reaction face.
Right.
I have my action plan of, you know, I'm not saying go out back and smoke a cigarette because I don't smoke. I mean, smoking isn't healthy anymore. But, you know, those smokers, they get a little break. They have an excuse. They can be like, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You should have like, I need a spiritual break. I'm going to go put my feet on the earth for 5 minutes. See how big your eyeballs get at the table.
That's what I used to do. I used to say at my job, I don't smoke, but I'm stepping out to get some fresh air.
That's right. This is my break. Yeah. The other thing I want to say, honestly, is that for me, I'm not a traditional religious person. I believe Christmas is all year long. I grew up with Christmas in my childhood more than anything else, although I will tell you my stepdad is Jewish. And boy, you know, my family, there's so much that I miss about those days in very, very good, loving ways. You know, one year we had the gas crisis and we had Iran sucks buttons all over our Christmas tree. And it was my step Jewish dad that did that. But it was humor and we had laughter and, you know, we had Christmaka because it was a mesh of different people. But what I remember most looking back is the people that I miss. And I can get really sad and I can get very nostalgic, especially Thanksgiving. But it is because of the love in my heart and how much I had. Now, I can go back and transport myself to that loft and I can be a 16-year-old girl and my mother's, you know, saying, you know, no, turn the blender on more. The whipped cream is not cream yet. It's just, you know, liquid. Keep going, right? And I was so annoyed. I didn't want to whip that cream. I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to be out with my, whatever. So, and now I would kill to have that 5 minutes where my mother was telling me, you know, it's not cream yet, you know? So hindsight, to me, my heart does feel bittersweet. It does bring up sadness. But more than anything, I can honor the sadness because I do feel like I had so much love. And another thing, I think we have to go to a break, so I'm just rambling on because I had something I wanted to say about ancestry, which we will when we come back, you guys.
Sounds good.
We've got to take our first break. Wow, this is already whirly-burly, isn't it?
Yeah, I can feel it. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shift. I just wanted to say I love that commercial about adopting rescues, and don't ever give somebody an animal for Christmas unless you know they absolutely want one, because then they end up back in the shelter. So that's my little Barb Barker moment. So we were talking about holidays and keeping our sanity, staying grounded, and making sure. Bottom line of anything in this show is, for me, really staying focused and grounded and knowing that you don't have to regress to your 4-year-old tantrum throwing self just because somebody's going to trigger you, because you've outgrown that. And I think for me, that's the biggest one. Is I'm such a passionate person, Marilyn. You know, I do tend to be the one who says, there's an elephant in the room. You know, I'm the black sheep of the family. I don't have any of that anymore. My dynamics with holiday has changed. But we all feel pressure and we all feel expectations.
Yeah, and if there's a reaction, let's think about this. If there's a reaction that you're having, we talked about this. It's a trigger, right? It's something that is still lingering, that's still living inside of you. It's still a trigger that's alive. And it's important to make note of that, right? Because if we're still being responsive and reactive to something like that, that's because that's unfinished business that we really need to get to so that we can create a better balance, right?
Yeah, but how much pressure do we also put on ourselves to, whatever. Like, I mean, people have expectations about looking right, showing up with the right gifts. If you're the host, you've got all that pressure, running around shopping, all of that stuff. It's just part of who we are in this society. And it's different for many people. I don't have children. I don't have a big family anymore. I get to run away. But the point of what I was saying before we went off to the break, too, is that there is a part of me that is also feeling extremely blessed for my ancestry and the ones that have passed on. Because I know, I want to say that, I feel with my mediumship and my trance work, and I'm lucky enough to know a little bit about my family because of their history and politics. And just, we are lucky to trace a line that the trials and tribulations of some of the stuff they went through, I can come from a place of appreciation because I know that I'm being supported with that they want me to succeed. And if I can be in that energy of the roads they paved for me and my family, I can see some of the minutia and the silliness and the BS of where I'm focusing my energies instead of what really matters, which is the heart, the family, the giving back. And that includes you, giving to you, making sure, because you don't want to be in the, I don't know that expression. I don't know if you've heard it, but, you better hurry up and appreciate it or you're going to miss it. So if you're so busy stirring the pot and making the turkey and running and doing the list, and then it's over, and then you're just depleted because you didn't allow yourself to absorb the good things, the juicy bits, all of that, right?
Yeah, that's why, when I say a lot of things for me changed, because even like for the new year, it's I feel blessed when I have my family and friends come and we spend so much beautiful times together. You know what? Everybody brings something. You know, we make a lot of food, but everybody brings something. So it's not, and then everybody understands that it's one of these, you know, you go get your own. I'm not here to serve you, right? You know where everything is. And, you know, there's no one here that's going to be catering this. We're just going to have fun. And so that relieves me of the need to let's say take care of everybody, because I want to have fun too, right? I want to feel good too. And so I love it because when we come together, we do just that. And it's it's exciting and it's fun and we get to talk about things. And look, COVID kind of disturbed that and kind of like took it out for us. And it was really hard for us because we're so used to it. I mean, we have family that comes from all different places and they come and they wind up in my house and we have such an amazing time. And then not to have that was really rough. It really was rough not to have our loved ones with us and enjoying, the time together, playing music, dancing, the kids playing games, board games, they play, they have so much fun and different age groups. And it's just so much fun. And we didn't have that for COVID. So that was really the saddest moment for me during, COVID. I mean, there was a lot of difficult moments for me, but the sad part was when we couldn't come together and be together and share in that way. So just thinking about that.
Is that different for you this year? Are you going to have more of a gathering now this year or not? Or is it a smaller gathering?
And at this time, I still don't know. It probably will be a smaller gathering. It probably will, but I don't want to shut that down because, there are certain things in life that sometimes we have to say, oh, this feels just too good to not. Yeah, and it's so important because the kids are growing, and so now we're talking about, wow, we missed them for almost 2 years, right? It feels like to me. And so that's a lot of time that we didn't see them. Okay, we did Zoom, but we wanted to be together, waking up in the morning and saying good morning and, all that good stuff. That's the stuff that makes you feel good.
Making sticky buns and having cocoa.
Yeah, the hugs, the kisses.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much I think that we have all missed out on. I think, honestly, most people, at least Americans, really did have a real bit of grief last year for the holidays because the world kind of shut down again and it just wasn't safe. And now I think we can come from a place where we appreciate more, know.
And that's why I say it. I'm sorry, but I was thinking about the importance of if you feel, because I speak to a lot of people who feel I don't know, disconnected or out of place with their family, or who feel like, oh my God, this is like for a lot of people it's a happy time, but for me it's like, this is what they say, but for me it's full of so much stress, it's full of so much, so many things that I get anxious, and there's overwhelming with this whole process of seeing certain people. And I think it's important to say that we always have the ability and the choice to be able to create our own events. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that you have to go, have to. There is no out of this, of going to a family's home for whatever reason. You just can't say no, and I don't know what that would be, but because some people feel that way. Some people feel like I can't say no, and I say I have the ability to stand and to say, I am so sorry, but I will not be attending. And simply the reason for that would be because I don't want to be sitting in that energy that just doesn't feel good. So if it's because I have to see a particular person and I can only see them in this event or during this event, then maybe I will go visit. But what I will concentrate on is spending time with this person. And then when I feel full, right, and they feel full, I say,
right.
gotta go now. I'll see you again some other time, because I always have to choose to save myself, right? Because my energy will then backfire on me, right? It's not going to work well, because then I'm going to have to do a lot of work around it. And I don't want to have to I'm doing a lot of work already. I don't want to add any more.
Right. No, I think that's so important. And this is something I wanted to talk about, actually, which, believe it or not, it's the ego. And I just wanted to share this because, your ego, what I call the itty bitty shitty committee in your head, that will put every doubt in you or bring up everything from 1971, and you got to be strong on someone because they said something stupid, or just it wasn't even intentional. The sensitivities, in your head, it's an imposter. And it's constantly in competition with your soul and your personal environment, right? And
Yes.
You are dealing with many people in your family, extended family from your past, who not only fed that monster ego, but their journey of judging your journey is their journey, not yours. And I think that's really important for people to remember. I know it is for me. Just bear with me for a second, Marilyn, because I want to get this out. The freedom comes in knowing the difference of what belongs to them and what truly does and does not belong to you. And I wrote this down because I wanted to say it right. If you can see what comes out of them has nothing to do with you, then eventually, this does take a long time, but eventually, when you don't personalize these things, that is where you are not biting the bait, feeding the beast, and where your freedom lies. So I had this little exercise I want to do, and this is not mine. This is Eckhart Tolle. He's a wonderful writer and mentor. So I just want you, everyone out there right now, unless you're driving a car, operating machinery, just close your eyes for 1 second. And just take a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? And then ask yourself, who is thinking those thoughts? And if you can do that, can you notice that there is a space where you are observing your thoughts? So you can stand back and observe those thoughts. And you can also sense that you are aware of those thoughts that you are observing. And Eckhart says, you are the awareness disguised as a person. So that's the ego. And that made so much sense to me. And I just wanted to say, so that in a sense, what I'm saying is that the more that you let the awareness of who you really are stimulate everything you do, allow, and receive, the more you're in your power. And that's why I wanted to talk just a tiny bit and focus on that. Like, I highly recommend his book, New Earth, because there's a lot of things. I mean, for the holiday, you could get it on your Kindle and read it. There's a lot of things about little things that will be like highlights that kind of get you back into making yourself, you said it, Marilyn, full. Because when you're full, then you can give. And when you're full, you don't need to snap. And if you're traveling, think about the tiny things that would make you happy. Like if you're traveling for a week and you have to go stay somewhere else, don't forget your favorite tea. Don't forget your favorite pillow. Make sure you have the things that make you happy when you have those little breaks. It may sound really simple, but it really can just not throw you so out of whack. Because let's face it, you go to a different place, you're out of whack. Your schedule's already... So as much as you could keep that intact for your self-care, I think the more you can kind of stay in that open heart space. At least for me, that's my highlight of the day for this show.
Yeah, I think that is beautiful, right? Because that's like almost like a similar activity that I used to do with the kids when I used to work with them. And I used to say to them, because a lot of times when you're young, you're very reactive. even as an older person, you are reactive as well.
You don't have a lot of power as a young person.
Right, and you're gauging it from a different place, right? It's all about your perception of how you're receiving everything, right? So, and I used to have that activity where I used to tell them, when somebody is speaking to you in a way that you know you're getting triggered, or you know you're going to react, and you know that, boy, this is not going down well, right? When the person is saying the things that they're saying to you, in your head, you should be saying, this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. And I used to say to them, don't say it out loud now. Just say it loud enough in your head as many times as you need to, so that you know you are not engaging with this person, nor are you receiving what it is that they are sending to you, right? So think about it. The energy that is spewing out of the mouth of this other person, right, is no longer energy that is being received by you. So it was so powerful. It really made a huge difference in the way the kids interacted with each other. And it was, for me, it was magical, because when I used to see the kids, especially the ones that were very reactive, like quick to respond, and then I would know that they were doing that because they wouldn't respond. They would be like this, you could see that they were thinking that, and they were not being responsive. And it was for me, it was, my God, it was just a miracle, right? Because there was less arguing, less fights, less, chaos. And why? And, they used it at home too. I used to say, don't worry about it. Even with somebody who's talking to you that you just feel like this person is like tearing me down, like really taking me out, and I want to respond. Right. Don't respond. Do that. Practice that. Yeah, just practice that.
And you know what? I have to say, you just made me have a light bulb moment. Like my very first affirmation when I was like, I don't know, 6, 8 years old. And as soon as I say it, you're going to know. I am rubber. You are glue. What you say bounces off me and sticks on you, right?
It sticks on you, yeah.
How powerful is that?
Yes.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did say that, and I can attest to that, but I didn't understand it.
Right.
But now I do.
I know as a young girl, I was so sensitive, and I didn't seem I was as sensitive as I was, because, I was a tomboy and a tough cookie and a New Yorker, and, I was a smart kid, but I was very sensitive underneath it all, and I was like a sponge. I didn't know the difference of some unhappy people around me and what I took on. And I think as kids, we do get, it's totally normal. A mom with 3 kids, go away, leave me alone. I can't even think, we do get brushed aside. We do get cast aside, and it's not intentional by people sometimes, but we are so sensitive because we don't feel that we are heard. You see the kid going, mommy, 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 and the mom just finally go away. Like he never even gets his point out because she's had it. And so we take those things on, and that's what we
take it personally.
Take it on.
Well, yes. We take it personally. It's like we're not enough, or we're not worthy, or and we don't even understand it. Yeah, and we don't understand that. But the truth is the truth is, right, that we have to remember. Oh, I can't do it now.
That's because we have to go to a break.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to a break.
We're going to a break. All right, we're coming right back. At least we're laughing. This is better than crying. Which
there you go. Exactly. I'm going.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
12 minutes.
Oh, wow, yes.
Welcome back. You can tell that nothing is staged or calculated in this show. I'll tell you, I don't know what you hear when we go off to a break, but boy, we are cracking ourselves up today and having a good old time. I'm going to tell you what, what you be, you become. And I'm going to get a little preachy here for a minute because I feel very adamant about it, and I'm a Sag, and we tend to get preachy. I don't mean to be. It's just I know what I know. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a damn good time. I'm going to make the best of my trip, and I've been looking forward to it. And I am going to see some family that has a tendency to, you know, trigger me a little bit. But I also know that I got tremendous wisdom, and I've got grace, and I've got my ancestors who have my back, including my mama. And I am really looking forward to showing up in a new way. And I think if you can make it a little bit of an adventure and go, hey, let's see, for 2021 and the holidays till New Year, how can I show up and get to New Year's Day and go, girl, you handled that like a rock star. Kudos to you, you know? Because it's a game, yes, but it's also a reflection of how far you've come. And I think that's what matters. That's your gauge, where you sit with yourself, not with anybody else, because you got to live with you, right? So my big resolution pre-holiday, who the hell has a pre-holiday resolution? But mine is really to show up and be very conscious of where my gauge in happiness is, and where do I go where I feel good at all times. Does this feel good? No, I'm going to go left because I want to feel better, right? That's
what it's about, isn't it? You set the intention. You set the intention to feel good, and you go in the direction of feeling good. And if it doesn't feel good, then you move from that direction into the direction that feels good. And if we continue to practice this becomes your new norm. And this is what, you know, I talk about, and I work, you know, when I work with people, this is a lot of, you know, that of the work, right? A lot of the work is, right, changing the way you see things and the way you experience things to the way that from a higher perspective, how it is and how it can be, right? Because we choose the energy that we are vibrating in, right? We choose that. And so if I go somewhere and I'm not feeling, you know, I'm not feeling it, I just don't feel good in the space, then I say, I gotta go. I'll see you later. It was really nice being here. And it was. I'm not lying about that. I just can't sit that long in there. And so I have to move, and I have to move. And that's okay, because what I'm doing is I'm honoring, respecting, and loving myself enough to say, enough for that, right? Enough for that. I don't have to tolerate, like if I'm in an environment where I feel like, oh my goodness, this is completely out of my, you know, energy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to excuse myself. Why? Because I love myself. I respect myself. I honor myself. I treasure myself. And I want to feel good. My choice is not to, you know, I want to feel good.
Let me ask you, Marilyn,
yes.
But really, like, I'm going to show my crazy right now. I know you've ever heard that song, Go and Hide Your Crazy, showing, you know, it's a Southern expression. But like, what's the alternative? Being the babbling, crazy, ugly, cry girl with the sweaty forehead. I mean,
Well,
you know,
you might.
But I'm just saying, when you get in that, you go, which one do I want to have a memory of? Myself as a total wreck who couldn't check herself, or somebody who was empowered and just took the high road and can look back like with my invisible halo.
Yeah,
know?
and I have to say this because this is important too. Sometimes people need to be checked. Right?
Yep.
Like sometimes it's important for you to check somebody the way you said it that way, right?
Yep.
And so, but there's a difference between how and when we do that, right? Like I have had my moments where I have had to check people, okay? Mm-hmm. Where I have said, oh boy, but this is what I have to say. I have not done it in a way where it was demeaning to the other person. I have waited. And I have addressed it later, at a later time. Because you know what? Sometimes in that very moment, it's just going to get lost. And it's just going to appear to be that I am the crazy one. Yes, and everything else is what it is, right? So I wait for the right opportunity, which is usually away from others, right? And maybe a different day where I will address, let's say the behavior or the reactions of the in the environment, right? So I do that with love and compassion all the time as needed, because I feel that I don't need to attack anybody or go crazy in trying to get my point across, even though it may be the right. The information needs to be said. The timing just isn't right. And it isn't going to work, because if my goal is to get the other person to see, right, that what they've done or were doing was not, let's say, healthy, or it wasn't a very nice thing to do, to another or in that space that we were, then it's going to get lost, right? It's going to get lost if I do it in that time. That person's not going to receive the message, and they won't change. They'll do it again the next time, right? Because they're not receiving. They're not in the place of receiving. If you're not in the place of receiving, it's not working.
Yeah, and you're going to have family members that are going to never hear you ever. They're never going to hear you,
and that's okay too.
And that's okay too, exactly. Because as long as you know. When it's when we started with expectations, didn't we? Yeah. It's like when you know, like this is going to happen, you're ready for it. You're not blindsided.
And you can say, and there's nothing wrong with you saying, okay, so I understand that this person is not going to be respectful to me. It's not going to honor, my wishes or whatever it is that you need to have this relationship continue. No matter what relationship you're having with this person, you need to be able to also, right? Borders, boundaries, self-respect. Let's go back there. We have to be able to be clear about what it is that we accept and don't accept. And it's okay for us to be able to say, I will love you, because I will always love you, but I will love you from a distance. But I will love you from a distance, right? Yeah. And I'll love you from a distance, because I can't have that energy in my space, okay? Yeah. Because it's not going to be good for me, and it's not going to be good for others, right? So that's the thing. Always,
unless we forget too that these are all our trigger installers. These are the people we picked karmically before we came here. At least I believe that. And so they're our greatest teachers. So sometimes, we can say, well, she's my greatest teacher. She drives me nuts. I can't take it. But I love her to death. Right?
But she taught you. But think about it. She taught you how to draw the line. She taught you where to draw the line. That's a teacher.
And breakdowns bring breakthroughs. And sometimes you're all put together in a little room with a tiny table and hopefully a juicy turkey if you like turkey. And, the shit's going to hit the fan. And sometimes that happens. And sometimes that's just as valuable too. It's not about being in avoidance of what's going on. Yeah. But it is about, So,
and it's talking
yeah.
about it. It's talking about it, having a real deep conversation around it. I've had those moments, so I can speak from that experience where I have had to sit and say, I don't know what's happening, and I don't really understand, what was happening or what you were thinking or what you were feeling in that moment. And maybe we can talk about this, and maybe we can, unravel some of this so that you can, find some kind of understanding, and I can find some kind of understanding because I'm the one seeking that right now. I'm needing that right now. So if you're willing to, we can do this. You know what I mean? Or I also need to tell you how I felt. And I'm sure that it wasn't your intention, but this is how I felt. And this is important because sometimes we have to tell people that.
Marilyn, that's where you and I differ, because I have that little devil on one side and the angel on the other. And I have the invisible halo. But every once in a while, you're so good. And I'm like, yeah, but I know that person is just waiting with that one little dart, I know their intention, and that's powerful too. You're not letting them off the hook. You're just rising above. And
but you're also bringing their attention. Yes. You're bringing the attention to their behavior, because you know what? Many times no one is bringing their behavior up into the level of, okay, let's take a look at this. And do you, and a lot of times people will say, I said that? Oh my goodness, I didn't. And I'm like, would you like me to do a videotape the next time? Because I can do that. We have cell phones. This is what we can do.
See, but that's where your little devil just came out a little bit. I saw him.
Right, because we can do that. Because sometimes people need to see. They have to see for themselves. They have to hear it and see it to believe it. Because you could tell somebody, what took place, but the person might say, listen, but in the back of their head, they're going, oh, please, I didn't do that. I didn't say that. I don't know what you're talking about. Blah, 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 blah.
And that's why when you wait later and you do it one-on-one or in the right moment, there may not be so, I didn't. Instead, they will receive and allow. So we only have a few minutes left. One of my favorite things of the holiday, so I want to focus on something that we love before we close our show. One of my favorite things about the holidays is I love the movie Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter, because her whole family is extremely dysfunctional, and Ben Croft's in it, and it's just lovely. The whole dynamics of the crazy and the triggers and the love, and it's a family movie. I love that. I love Love Actually. That's another really good Christmas movie. Even though it's fluff and puff, I don't care. And anything with Hugh Grant, melts my butter, so I don't care. But what do I love the most about the holidays? Every year, and I told you about this yesterday, every year I pull out my creche, my nativity scene that was given to me the year I was born from someone in Italy. I don't even know who gave it to me, but I still have the little donkeys and the baby Jesus, and I have even the little straw it came with. And when I set that up, I light a candle for my mother, and I embrace all of those good memories and who I am and where I'm headed. And that's my favorite part about the holidays for me, is the love and the memories and the goodness and the promise of the hope of the world, because I do feel that. Regardless of all the commercials and the BS, there is something very special about the solstice and that time of year. And that's what I love about the holidays more than anything. So I wanted to share something that I loved, because I didn't want it to just be stress and press and,
No, it's important, right? It's just important to practice. And we can start practicing now, right? Because this is important. If we start practicing now and setting intentions, how beautiful it's going to be moving forward, right? And recognizing, and I want everybody to recognize one thing, that we will take 10 steps forward and 3 steps back or whatever, right? And that we need to always be kind and gentle with ourselves. That we need to be able to understand that, yes, we're going to sometimes trip and fall. And sometimes we may, go back to the crawling, because or the walking stage, and we may not be running, right? So it's important for us to recognize that and give ourselves we have to give ourselves the love that we're looking for. The love that we're wanting is inside of us. And for us to be able to give ourselves that is the most important. We took the commercialism out of Christmas in my house. We don't usually do like gifts, because I really believe that just coming together and being together is important. Sharing food, sharing stories, just enjoying each other is important. More important than the gifts, right? Because those are things that they come and go, right? But the memories of how much time we spend together, how much time we laugh, how the love that's in the room, that then you have that memory. Whenever you pull it up, it's there, right? So I think about that, because during COVID, I had to do that. And I was thankful and grateful that I had those moments that I could pull up, and it would fill me, because I knew, oh boy, this was such good times, right?
And I think it's really important the more you can stay in that open heart space. And, just give everybody else the benefit of the doubt, because really, it's like Wayne Dyer. I've said it before. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out of the orange? What's in the orange? And so if somebody's stressed or they're snappy, it's really not you. It never is.
Send them love. Send them love. Send them love.
Send them love.
Send them love.
So Miss Marilyn, we've come to the end of our show. Next week, we're doing a really special show about signs and symbols and breadstones from spirit. So I'm really looking forward to that. I know you're going to share about the rainbow crow. Where can people find you?
Okay, so it's universalsacredmedicine.com.
And you can find me at angelwithanedge.com. And we send you peace and blessings.
Yeah, blessings, love, and light to all. Stay positive.